Welcome to the Onveos podcast, where we share actionable insights on web design, SEO, paid advertising, and AI automation. Each deep dive is focused on practical strategies you can apply immediately to build smarter systems, attract better traffic, and scale your business with confidence. Today, we're diving into a stack of really critical reports. We're looking at the current state of WordPress security, the real impact of AI on development, and the true cost of managing your own infrastructure.
Yeah, and our mission today is really to help you navigate all of this. It's so easy to just chase what's fast.
The shiny new thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We need to look past the immediate speed you get from, say, an AI builder and really understand the hidden costs, the human price of managing it all. We're looking at what actually drives long-term value, not just, a temporary boost.
Okay, so let's unpack that. Let's start with that ultimate temptation you mentioned, SpeakCough. AI website builders, they are everywhere.
Yeah.
They promise you can launch a site in, hours, a couple of days, and the cost is incredibly low, 10 to 50 bucks a month. For an MVP, that seems unbeatable.
For MVP, for just validating an idea, it is unbeatable. But the sources are so clear on this. The second that site needs to actually make money, these builders come with some significant structural trade-offs.
Right.
It really impacts your ability to scale. So you have to frame the choice not as cheap versus expensive, but more like short-term tool versus long-term investment.
Okay, so let's talk about those trade-offs. What are we actually talking about here? Beyond just, looking like a template.
Well, the biggest one is brand differentiation.
Yep.
It's customization. These platforms, they're all built around preset layouts.
The box you have to fit in.
The box, exactly. And that limits your brand, which is a soft cost. But more importantly, it physically restricts your ability to optimize the user journey for conversions.
Yeah.
The research is stark here. 74% of people judge a company's credibility just by its website design.
Wow, 74%. So if
Wow.
you look generic, you're immediately eroding trust.
Before they've even read a single word. So that template lock-in, it isn't just an aesthetic thing. It's a fundamental trust problem. And if you can't tailor the buyer's journey, you are just leaving money on the table.
Absolutely. And I imagine that's compounded by, performance issues, technical SEO problems?
Yeah, massively. These platforms, they limit your control over the core mechanics. I'm talking about your asset strategy, routing, rendering.
The deep technical stuff that Google cares so much about.
The stuff that directly impacts your core web vitals. And if the underlying code is fragile or just slow, even the best content in the world isn't going to save you.
Right, because slow pages just kill sales.
They absolutely do. The stats are just horrifyingly consistent. One study shows 53% of mobile visits are just gone if a site takes longer than 3 seconds to load.
Over half your audience. Gone.
Instantly. So if your AI site was faster to build, but you lose half your mobile traffic because it's slow, that initial saving is actually hiding a massive opportunity cost.
So it's about lifetime value, not the upfront cost. So what does the investment case for, say, custom development look like then?
Okay, so custom dev, yeah, it's a real commitment up front. You're often looking at $30,000 plus, and it's not instant. It takes, 4 to 12 weeks.
But it's an investment in a specific outcome, right?
That is the key, a specific outcome. So the sources use this one scenario. A custom e-commerce site costs, say, $40,000. But if that custom build improves your conversion rate by just 15%.
Which is very achievable with a custom funnel.
Very. And let's say your baseline revenue is $80,000 a month. That 15% bump is another $12,000 in revenue every single month.
So that $40,000 investment pays for itself in just over 3 months.
3 to 4 months, yeah. It's capital expenditure to maximize profit, not just an operational cost to get online.
So the takeaway for everyone listening is what? Use AI builders for quick validation.
Yeah.
But the second it's about core sales or complex flows, you have to go the traditional route.
That's the strategic move. You choose the right tool for the job, which actually brings us from the quality of the build to how you defend it. Let's talk about WordPress security.
Yes. And this is where the data in the 2024 security report it really hits you. The threat landscape isn't just growing, it's getting more severe.
The volume alone is staggering. Vulnerabilities disclosed in 2024, they were up 68% from the year before. But here's the number that should really concern every site owner.
Okay.
7.4% of all vulnerabilities were considered high threat. That's a 149% increase from 2023.
149%. That's not just more attacks, that's smarter, more targeted attacks, isn't it? They're aiming for high-value targets.
Precisely. Maximum damage, minimum effort. And if you look at the types, cross-site scripting or XSS, it's still number one. It's the constant background noise of WordPress security.
We hear about XSS all the time, but the report flags stored cross-site scripting as being particularly alarming. What makes that one so bad?
So a stored XSS is like a silent time bomb. The malicious script, it doesn't just fire when someone clicks a bad link. It's saved persistently in your database.
So like in a user comment or something?
Like a comment, a user profile plugin setting, yeah. And then it just sits there waiting. It executes every time someone, maybe an admin, just loads that infected page. That's why WordFence blocked over 9 billion XSS attempts in 2024.
9 billion. I mean, that number alone makes the case for a web application firewall, a wave. You have to block that stuff at the perimeter.
It's non-negotiable. And beyond XSS, the most damaging threats are the ones that give an attacker deep control. Arbitrary file uploads, that was the biggest share of high-threat issues, at 38%.
Which basically means they can upload a malicious script and they own your site.
Instantly, yeah. After that was privilege escalation at 24% and authentication bypass at 10%.
And we've seen huge examples of that, right? Like the privilege escalation flaw in the Lightspeed Cache plugin. That affected millions.
Over 5 million sites. An attacker could just log in as an administrator. It completely shatters your security assumptions. And, well, this all leads to the place where the real risk is hiding.
Which is?
Unmaintained, abandoned software.
Okay, define unmaintained software for us. What does that mean in this context?
So the data shows that 58% of all vulnerabilities last year were found in plugins and themes with fewer than 10,000 installs.
The smaller niche stuff?
Right. They don't have the resources or the community eyes on them, but here's the real risk multiplier. Around 35% of all the vulnerabilities disclosed in 2024 are still unpatched today in 2025 because the developer just vanished.
So the risk isn't just the big, popular plugins. It's the forgotten little tool you installed 3 years ago and never thought about again.
Exactly. That's your weak point.
Yeah.
So this all points to a defense-in-depth strategy. You need a way for the stuff you can't patch, and you have to be ruthless about auditing and removing abandoned software. If you haven't updated it in 2 years and you don't absolutely need it, get rid of it.
That is a perfect transition. We've talked application security, now let's look at the infrastructure underneath. The whole dream of complete control from self-hosting on, say, AWS or Azure,
Right.
it often hides this huge, exhausting human cost.
This is such a huge, unintentional waste of human capital for so many businesses. The promise is flexibility, but the reality is this enormous technical burden. Just the setup alone.
Yeah.
You need to be a cloud architect.
Right. You need to understand instance types, security groups, load balancers.
And then manually set up the whole stack. The OS, the web server, PHP, the database, all of that is time your team is not spending on your actual product.
And most business owners, they're not cloud experts. You're effectively paying a high-value person to do basic sysadmin work.
It's pure opportunity cost. I mean, if you're Netflix, sure, the control is worth the overhead. But if you're an e-commerce store, every hour spent figuring out cloud networking is an hour you didn't spend optimizing your checkout flow.
And just scaling that kind of self-hosted environment is even more complex, isn't it?
Oh, it's a nightmare. To get true high availability for WordPress, you need a really complex setup. We're talking load balancers, database clusters, caching layers like Redis. It's far from simple. You under-provision, you crash during a traffic spike, you over-provision, and your cloud bill just explodes.
So once the site is live, you're not done. You've just inherited this permanent, never-ending maintenance treadmill.
You are now the system administrator. Forever. You're responsible for everything. OS security patches, SSL certificates, uptime monitoring, fighting off brute force attacks, managing backups.
And when you do get hacked, which is a matter of when, not if, you're the one cleaning it up.
Yep. We've all been there, right? Spending a Saturday morning trying to figure out why an SSL cert didn't renew, or cleaning up malware, that's a massive emotional and financial toll.
It really is.
The sources are clear. Cleaning up malware can take days. It can be super expensive if you have to outsource it. And just the pressure, the anxiety of a potential breach, it causes so much stress and lost productivity. You're burning high-value human hours on a low-value infrastructure problem.
Which positions managed hosting not as an expense to be avoided, but as a strategic investment to get that human capital back?
That's it, exactly. You outsource that whole burden to experts. You turn an unpredictable crisis-driven cost into a predictable fixed operating expense. And you get to focus your people back on what actually makes you money.
Which leads right into our final piece of this puzzle, the human element itself. How is AI automation changing the role of the person who's actually building the site and securing it?
AI is proving to be a massive augmentation tool, but, and this is critical, it's not a replacement. The productivity gains are just undeniable. The survey shows 75.8% of programmers are using AI every day.
Wow.
For WordPress developers specifically, they're completing basic tasks. Boilerplate code, 40 to 60% faster. AI is handling code generation, simple debugging, helping with code review.
So the developer's job is fundamentally shifting. It's less about being a repetitive code typist and more about being a solution architect.
That's the perfect way to put it. The focus moves to high-level architecture, complex problem solving. They're spending less time writing simple functions and more time designing the entire system.
That speed is incredible, but if AI is writing the code, we have to talk about the security downside. Does all this speed create fragile systems?
This is probably the most important warning in all the source material. Study after study shows that developers using AI, they sometimes write less secure code. But here's the kicker. They report feeling more confident about that code's safety.
That is a dangerous combination. Less secure, but more confident. It's like a recipe for, I don't know, algorithmic arrogance.
It is. The developer trusts the AI because it's fast and it looks right. It's syntactically correct. So they might bypass the critical human review that actually catches vulnerabilities. It just highlights the absolute necessity for rigorous human oversight and updated code review protocols.
So for people listening, for anyone hiring talent, what are the new skills developers should be focused on to stay ahead?
Well, as the routine stuff gets automated, the skill set moves up the stack. Developers need to get proficient with AI and ML APIs. They should probably learn Python since it's the main language for AI. And crucially, they need to double down on those high-level soft skills. Innovative thinking, complex problem-solving, architectural design, that's the stuff automation can't replicate. So to summarize the key action points for anyone wanting to build smarter systems, first, be really strategic with AI. Use it for your MVPs, for rapid prototyping, sure. But choose custom development when conversions and scalability are your absolute business drivers.
Right. And second, treat your maintenance like it's essential insurance, not a chore. Use layered security, a WAF, a scanner, regular audits, and be ruthless about removing that old, unmaintained software. It just shrinks your attack surface.
And third, see managed hosting as a strategic investment. It lets you outsource that complex, time-consuming server admin burden. You get to reclaim your most valuable resource, your team's time and focus, and point it back at revenue.
This brings us to a final, provocative thought for you to consider. We've seen today that AI can give you extreme velocity in development, and convenience hosting offers ease and infrastructure. But the research is clear. Raw speed can create fragile code, and hosting complexity eats up valuable human time. So if your goal is to scale with confidence, ask yourself this. How will you ensure that the speed you gain from AI and the convenience you choose in hosting aren't just accelerating the buildup of hidden technical debt, the kind of debt that will eventually force a costly crisis and a complete rebuild down the line? Apply these actionable insights, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.